This is a failed chicken farmer from Barcelona typing in a rented room in Lisbon. Every time he finishes a paragraph, a spy appears. This one is a traveling salesman in South Wales. He is not real. Neither is this one, or this one. Nobody in this room exists except the man at the typewriter, who has never been to Britain. Germany believed all of it, for 4 years, and then Adolf Hitler gave him a medal. Hitler gave this fake spy a medal. Meet Juan Pujol Garcia. Born in Barcelona in 1912, he went to the Royal Poultry School. Yes, that was a real school. Yes, he graduated. He then ran a chicken farm, which failed. So he managed a small hotel, which also failed. His entire resume is birds and disappointment. Then came the Spanish Civil War. His mother and his sister were arrested by the Republicans. He was conscripted, deserted on forged papers, and crossed to the nationalist side, which mistreated him too. He served both sides and never fired a single bullet for either one. He came out hating both. He said he wanted to fight totalitarianism with his imagination. So, in January 1941, he walked into the British Embassy in Madrid and offered to spy. They said no. He tried again. No. He tried a third time, once through his wife Araceli. No. Britain rejected the greatest double agent of the war 3 separate times. Sir, this is a war, not a hobby. So he had an idea. If Britain would not hire him, he would go get experience first. He decided the fastest way to become a British double agent was to become a German spy. So he applied to the Abwehr, German military intelligence. He told them he was a fanatically pro-Nazi Spanish official with diplomatic access to London. He was none of those things. He had no job, no passport, and no plan. Do you have any espionage training? No, but I have enormous enthusiasm. Perfect. Here is £600. They gave him a crash course, invisible ink, a codebook, cover addresses, and a questionnaire, plus roughly £600. They codenamed him Arabelle and sent him to build a spy ring. He did not go to Britain. He went to Lisbon, sat down, and signalled Madrid that he had arrived safely in Great Britain. He was in a different country, in nice weather. For the next 9 months, he reported on a nation he had never visited. Any trouble getting in? None at all. Very foggy here. If you are going to invent an entire country, you need research materials. In 1943, MI5 wrote an internal memo naming 3 of the sources he used: a blue guide tourist book, a map of England, and an out-of-date railway timetable. That is what the Third Reich was buying. The out-of-date part is my favorite. He was not even lying with current information. His imaginary Glasgow informant reported that the dock workers would do anything for a litre of wine. Wine, in Glasgow, in 1941. Astonishing detail. This man is inside their culture. The Germans believed it because they knew even less about Britain than he did. Then he invented a convoy. He reported ships sailing from Liverpool to Malta. They did not exist. German units were ordered to intercept it, and aircraft flew reconnaissance of Valletta harbour. That is how the British found him. In February 1942, Bletchley Park noticed something alarming. Germany had an agent inside Britain, feeding back nonsense and acting on it. Who is this man? They had turned him away 3 times. In early 1942, Pujol and Araceli walked into the United States Naval Attaché's office in Lisbon. Lieutenant Patrick de Morris listened, believed them, and told the British. On the 24th of April 1942, he arrived in Britain for the first time. MI5 codenamed him Bovril, after the beef extract. Someone overruled that and renamed him GARBO, after Greta Garbo, the best actor in the world. To the Germans he stayed Arabelle. He was paired with an MI5 case officer named Thomas Harris, a Spanish-speaking London art dealer. Germany's crown jewel spy network was now written by a Spaniard and an art dealer in Hendon. Together, they grew the fiction. The network is commonly counted at 27 agents, though historians still argue where you draw the line, because some of the fake agents had their own fake agents. There was a Gibraltarian canteen waiter who hated Britain. Separately, an underground Welsh fascist group who thought they were helping the Reich, and a Venezuelan in Glasgow with a man in the Royal Air Force feeding him gossip. Araceli helped write their life stories, giving the ghosts names, jobs, and grudges. The Reich's best source inside Britain was a cast of characters invented at a kitchen table. Then a problem. In November 1942, real convoys sailed from Liverpool for Operation Torch. Agent number 2, a notional businessman named William Maximilian Gerbers, was supposedly standing right there. He could not plausibly have missed them, so they killed him. They wrote him as gravely ill, then dead, and placed a death notice in a local Liverpool paper for a man never born. The Germans sent condolences, then they agreed to pay a pension to his widow, who also did not exist, who they then recruited as an agent. She has been so brave. Sign her up. And while all of this was going brilliantly, it was quietly destroying somebody real. Araceli González Carballo secured the interview that started the whole case. She approached the Americans. She wrote the biographies of the fictional agents. Her husband's memoir left her out. She was isolated in a country she did not want to live in. By late June 1943, she threatened to expose everything, simply so she could go home. MI5 responded by staging her husband's arrest and detention at Camp 020, their interrogation center. She was allowed to believe it was real. She attempted suicide by gas. She survived. Afterwards, she signed a statement promising never to interfere with the operation again. MI5's internal descriptions of her are contemptuous. This is the part of the story nobody puts in the trailer. And it was all in service of one thing, which was still a year away. Operation Fortitude South. The Allies invented an entire army group, the first United States Army Group, and parked it in southeast England, pointing at the Pas de Calais. In May 1944, GARBO and a Polish double agent codenamed Brutus named Patton as commander. The Germans rated Patton the best general the Allies had. Between January 1944 and D-Day, he sent over 500 radio messages to Madrid, sometimes 4 a day, forwarded straight on to Berlin. MI5 arranged for German operators to stay up all night, expecting a sub-agent with urgent news. At 3 in the morning, on the 6th of June, GARBO transmitted the invasion warning. It was deliberately timed to arrive too late to be useful. Nobody received it. The Germans had gone off air at 11:30. The message included the detail that troops at Southampton had been issued vomit bags. History's most important warning mentioned sick bags, and nobody was awake to read it. At least 4,414 Allied troops were confirmed killed on D-Day. 2,501 of them were American. Total Allied casualties exceeded 10,300. Roughly 2,400 of those casualties were at Omaha alone. None of those men knew about the Spaniard in a North London house and his invented network, or that it had anything to do with whether German tanks reached them. On the 9th of June, GARBO sent the message everything had been built for. He argued Normandy was a diversion and that the real invasion would land at the Pas de Calais. He claimed roughly 75 Allied divisions were in Britain. The real number was closer to 50. On the 10th of June, the order sending the 1st SS Panzer Division toward Normandy was cancelled. A panzer regiment of the 116th too. The armour stayed north of the Seine. For about 2 months, more than 20 German divisions sat in the Pas de Calais, waiting. Now a caveat, because accuracy is the whole point of this channel. Historians, including Mary Catherine Barbier, argue this gets oversold. The Germans already expected the Pas de Calais. Allied bombing had wrecked French rail and roads so badly the 15th Army might not have moved. He did not create the German delusion. He was the loudest and most trusted voice in an argument the Germans were already having. 86 messages in high-level German intelligence summaries came from him, more than any other agent. Which brings us to the medals. From June 1944, Germany fired V-1 flying bombs at London, 10,492 of them over about 10 months, causing 24,165 casualties. Germany asked GARBO to report where the bombs were landing. The false reports pushed the barrage short, away from central London and onto the southern suburbs. Croydon and neighbouring South London boroughs took the fall. In Croydon alone, about 54,000 houses were damaged and more than 200 people killed. People died in those streets partly because the deception worked. The Home Secretary, Herbert Morrison, a South Londoner himself, objected. He saw it as playing God with which citizens lived and died. He was overruled. And then, in the middle of all of it, Berlin sent him a present. On the 29th of July, 1944, Berlin informed GARBO by radio. Adolf Hitler had personally authorized an Iron Cross Second Class for him for extraordinary services, a decoration normally reserved for men under fire, authorized by Hitler, conveyed over the wireless. To a man in London working for MI5. He received the actual medal only after the war. In December 1944, Britain appointed him a member of the Order of the British Empire. There was no royal investiture because a public ceremony would have destroyed his cover. MI5's Director General, Sir David Petrie, handed it over privately. 2 medals from 2 enemies, both kept secret. He is one of the very few people, and quite possibly the only one, honored by both Britain and Nazi Germany in the same war. After the war, he feared revenge from surviving Nazis, so he did the one trick he was genuinely world-class at. In 1949, he went to Angola and faked his own death from malaria. He then lived quietly in Venezuela for 35 years, believed buried in Africa. In 1984, a historian tracked him down. He came to London, and a room of retired intelligence officers gathered at the Special Forces Club to greet a man they had been told was dead. On the 6th of June, 1984, the 40th anniversary, he went to Normandy. He walked the beaches and paid his respects to the dead. He died in Caracas in 1988, aged 76. A failed chicken farmer beat German intelligence with a guidebook and a broken train timetable. If you want more true stories, this stupid and this real, subscribe. Next time, the corpse the British dressed up as an officer and floated onto a Spanish beach.